In this video, I'm going to be walking you through exactly step by step how to create high performing sponsored product ads for your products listed on Amazon.com. Sponsored product ads are the type of Amazon PPC that generate the most clicks, have the highest click-through rate, and generate the most revenue and sales on the platform. So they're the most important ad type for you to know in order to drive sales to your products on Amazon.com. I'm Chris Rawlings. I've driven over $200 million in Amazon PPC sales, and I've set up thousands of these types of campaigns inside sponsored products. I've got my cup of warm tea here ready to sip on while we go through. You didn't believe that, did you? It's green tea, guys. Relax. All right, let's jump right into it. Okay, so here I am in Amazon Seller Central. I'm going to go to the hamburger menu, go to advertising, click campaign manager, and here's where I see my ads console. So inside my ads console, we're not going to do a whole tour of the ads console here, but all you have to do is scroll down, hit create campaign, and then you'll see these options: sponsored products, sponsored brands, and sponsored display. If you scroll down, you'll also see another option, sponsored TV, but we're not going to talk about any of those other ad types today. So just click continue under sponsored products, and it brings up this setup screen. Now we're going to go through step by step how to set up all of these settings and when to use each. And I'm going to go through each and every one of them one by one. So starting at the ad group level, ad groups are usually important to use when you're split testing things. So if you have two very similar things with one small change, you'll usually use ad groups for that. But a lot of times you're just going to organize everything at the campaign level and not even use ad groups. So it's fine if you just use this default ad group name. The most important thing is the naming of the campaign, which we get to at the bottom here. And I'll tell you guys how to name campaigns in the right way to make sure that they're easily findable later. So the first screen you see after the ad group settings is products. Here's where you can add your products, and Amazon already shows you all of your products here. You can add them just by clicking this add button, and you can add multiple products. Now the thing is, good campaign etiquette is really just to add one product per campaign. So when you have a campaign with multiple products in it, the problem is it's much harder to understand what's working well and what's not working well. So good campaign etiquette in sponsored products and really in all ad types is one product per campaign. Now there are exceptions to that, but broadly, a vast majority of the campaigns that you create, and especially if you're just starting out, you're just gonna wanna do one product per campaign. There are tons of other settings to tweak, and you just don't wanna have too many moving parts. Otherwise it gets hard to understand what's really working well and what's not. So add whatever product it is that you want to advertise here. If you want to advertise your other products, you can just do this same process again after you've created the campaign. Now we get to targeting. Okay, this is one of the most important settings in a sponsored product campaign. You have two major categories here: automatic targeting and manual targeting. So let's start with manual targeting. What is targeting in general? Targeting means who is going to see this ad. And I don't mean who in terms of are they male or female, are they under 60 or over 60, or do they live here, do they live there? What this actually means is where on the platform does it show up? Does it show up when somebody searches a certain term? Does it show up when somebody searches a certain group of terms? Does it show up when somebody visits a certain listing? There are really only two places that these sponsored product ads show up. So let's go over to Amazon and I'll show you where they show up. So if I search a term inside Amazon, sourdough starter kit, right? And I see this first ad. This is not a sponsored product ad. This is a sponsored brand ad. This will be a whole different video. We'll go through how to set up this type of advertising. But once you scroll past that, the first results you see, they look like organic results, but they're actually not. You can see this little sponsored icon here. These are sponsored product ads. And in fact, these four ads at the very top of search results, these are the ones that get the vast majority of the clicks, and they also get the highest click-through rate, and they're also the most expensive on a cost per click basis. So really, these ones are sort of like the alpha dogs of sponsored product campaigns. They're the most expensive, they perform the best, they get the most clicks, they drive the most ranking. So that's where that's called a top of search sponsored product ad. So that's one type of targeting, right? Now, if I scroll down, I'm going to see more ads These ads are rest of search placements. So they look like search results, but they're not. Anytime you see something that looks like a search result, but it has a little sponsored icon, you know it's a sponsored product ad. There's only one place that type of ad can come from, and that's sponsored products. And this is why they get the most clicks, because they're interspersed with the organic results, and most shoppers don't even really know the difference, or they don't even spot that little sponsored tag that it has. So we've got the sponsored products at the top of search, we've got the sponsored product ads in the rest of search, and then if I click on one of these listings, I'll see that there are actually ads on the listing. So these are ads. See, it says sponsored here. All of these are ads. If I scroll down more, I'm going to see more sponsored product ads on the listing. So these products related to this item, sponsored, these are all sponsored product ads. So if I target an ASIN, that means that I'm trying to get my ad to show up on a listing like this. If I target a keyword, that means I'm trying to get my ad to show up in search results like this. Now, targeting an ASIN or targeting a keyword doesn't guarantee that your ad shows up in search or the product pages. Amazon actually chooses where it shows up no matter what you target, but it gives Amazon an idea of what you want, and you tend to get more of that type of placement. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. All right, so let's go back to the campaign builder here, and we'll come back to automatic targeting in a minute. But let's start with manual targeting, because most of your sponsored product campaigns are going to be manual targeting style. So if I select manual targeting, you'll see below it opens up this menu for manual targeting, and I have two more choices: keyword targeting and product targeting. Now, again, I'm going to go through the most basic, most common type of setup first, and then we'll go back and check the other setup. So inside manual targeting, keyword means I'm targeting a specific search term. So if somebody goes in and they search this term, sourdough starter kit, and I want my ad to show up in search results here, this is the type of targeting that I would want to use, keyword targeting. If I wanted my ad to show up on a particular product, like when somebody clicks the top ranking product, for example, if I wanted to show my ad on their listing, I would target products, and I would select product targeting. So here's the thing that most people don't understand. Whether you do keyword targeting or product targeting, Amazon can show you both in search and on product listings, and it will. It's just giving Amazon your intent. Now, why does Amazon do this? I don't really know. It's kind of annoying sometimes, but there are ways to make Amazon show your ad where you want it to using bid adjustments, which is further down, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. So let's go back to keyword targeting and keep walking through the settings here. So once I get to keyword targeting, if I scroll down, now I see this keyword targeting section, and it has a bunch of suggested keywords, or I can enter a list of keywords myself, or I can upload a file using their template that you can download here with a whole bunch of keywords. The most simple way to do this is just enter them. So if I click enter list, you'll see that there's 3 checkboxes here: broad, phrase, and exact. Now let's start in reverse order. Now, exact means I'm targeting only people that type in that exact search term. So if I wanted sourdough starter kit, this means I'm targeting only people that search exactly this word. Now, if instead of exact I clicked phrase, this would target people who included this term as part of their search. So for example, if I put sourdough starter kit in there, Amazon might also show my ad for people who search sourdough starter kit for kids or beginner sourdough starter kit, because it still has the word in it, even though the search term itself is different. Now, if I click broad, that's actually going to show the ad for any search term that has these words in any order. So now it might show the ad for beginner sourdough extra large starter kit, because it still has the words in it, and even though they're not in the same order, they're all still in there, so Amazon is still going to show the ad for that term. Now recently Amazon got even more liberal with this, and they'll actually, in all 3 of these ad types, even exact, they'll start showing your ad to search terms that they feel are equivalent. even if it's not exactly the same. But generally, if I click exact, a vast majority of my impressions and clicks are going to come from this exact search term. So how do we use these different match types? Well, exact is when we've already found, for some reason, either in our keyword research or through auto campaigns, which we'll go through in a second, that's up here, that this is a keyword that has high volume and that has a high click-through rate and high conversion for our product in particular, and we know it works for us. So we want to target exactly that. And a lot of times what we're going to do is actually create a single keyword exact match campaign in sponsored products so we can finely tune that particular keyword. That's how important the keyword is. So to do that, you just click add keyword and then you see it populate over here. Now you can add multiple keywords, and unlike products, it's fine for you to add multiple keywords into one campaign. But sometimes when a keyword is really important, you're actually going to want to just have that one single keyword in that campaign, just again, so you can finely tune that campaign. Now let's talk about bids. So Amazon is going to give you a suggested bid, and it's going to pre-populate your bid with what that suggested bid is. So here it's saying the suggested bid is $1.36. Now, should you go with Amazon's suggested bid? Well, after creating thousands upon thousands of these campaigns and driving hundreds of millions of dollars in Amazon ad revenue, I can tell you with certainty the answer is no. Do not use Amazon's suggested bid. It can be wildly off from what your bid should be. And in fact, there is a very simple formula for how to calculate what bid to use. And I'm going to pull up a screen to show you what that is now. Okay, so here is the formula. Now, if this is confusing you, don't worry, I'm going to walk you through it right now. So my starting bid should be my target ACoS. ACoS is average cost of sale. This means for a $100 product, if I wanted to spend $30 on ads to sell that $100 product, my ACoS would be 30% because I'm spending 30% of the retail price in ad spend to sell one product. So if I was targeting spending 30% of the retail price of my product in ad spend to sell that product, my target ACoS would be 30%. So your starting bid is going to be your target ACoS, meaning what percentage of your sale you want to spend on ads to make that sale, times your product price times your conversion rate. So here's what that looks like. If my target ACoS is 100%, say I was selling a $40 product and I wanted to spend $40 in ads to sell that $40 product. Obviously, this is not ideal. You want your ACoS to be much lower than that, but some brands that are being super aggressive, they might actually be okay with this for a short period of time while they're gaining traction. And this is just to make the math simple for you guys. So my target ACoS is 100%. My product price is $40 and my conversion rate is 10%. Now, conversion rate, what is that? Conversion rate is out of the number of people who land on my listing, how many people buy. So if 100 people land on my listing and 10 people buy, that means my conversion rate is 10%. You can find your conversion rate by going to business reports in Seller Central, scrolling down, clicking the ASIN, and then scrolling over to unit session percentage. This is your product's conversion rate. So that's the conversion rate. So if my target ACoS is 100%, my product price is $40 and my conversion rate is 10%, that means that my starting bid is going to be $4. That's 1 times 4 times 0.1. Now, if I wanted a target ACoS of 50% and my product price is $40, my conversion rate is 10%, then my starting bid would be $2. That's 0.5 times 40 times 0.1. If I wanted a target ACoS of 25%, then my starting bid would be $1, etc. This is how you should calculate your starting bid. This is the ideal starting bid, and it's very easy to calculate. Once you get used to doing this a few times, it's going to be really easy for you, and it's not going to be hard to calculate. You just, the first couple times you do it, it just takes a little bit longer. All right, so using that calculation, assuming my product price is $40, my conversion rate is 10%, and my target ACoS is 25%, I'm going to do a starting bid of $1. Now, the starting bid, it's not make or break, because what you're going to do over time after you create this campaign is adjust the bid up or down based on how this campaign is performing. So don't pour over this too much. It's not a huge deal. If you're not getting impressions or it's not performing well, you simply can just lower the bid. If it is performing well, then you can just up the bid so you get even more impressions and more sales from that particular term. All right, so that's the targeting section. After that, we're gonna scroll down and we get to negative keyword targeting. Now, this is basically the opposite of keyword targeting. This means if I had selected phrase match or broad match, where Amazon is a lot more liberal, and I just typed in sourdough starter kit, and I didn't want Amazon to advertise me for sourdough starter kit for kids, I would put that in here. Because I know that my particular kit is not for kids, but Amazon keeps showing my ads to this particular search term. This is when I would want to negative keyword target. Now, when you first set up the campaign, you can put in the negative keyword targets that you already know are not good based on your keyword research that you do ahead of time. But where you're really gonna get the negative targets is through running a bunch of these campaigns, downloading your search term reports, and then seeing where Amazon is showing your ads that you really don't want them to be showing for. You don't really need to worry about negative keyword targeting if you're using the exact type of targeting. Even phrase, you probably won't really need that much negative keyword targeting. Broad, you probably will. And if you're doing automatic targeting, you definitely want to have negative keyword targeting because Amazon can just go wild with the search terms that it targets for your product when you have automatic targeting on. It can just, even completely unrelated terms, sometimes Amazon will advertise for. So you're going to want to continuously add to this negative targeting list for unrelated terms that Amazon keeps showing you for, especially for automatic campaigns. So after negative keyword targeting, then we get into the bidding. So there are three main types of bidding strategies. There's dynamic bids up and down, dynamic bids down only, and fixed bids. So dynamic bids up and down means you still start with that starting bid, but Amazon can actually change your bid by up to 100% up or down based on how competitive the space is and what other competitors are bidding at that time. Now, typically you're not going to want to use this bidding type only because your bidding can get out of control when you use this. The only time you're going to want to use dynamic bids up and down is if you really need to get impressions fast and you're really not sure what bid to start with. You need Amazon to kind of find a starting point for you. Then this can be a useful tool, especially if you're trying to be super aggressive. Most of the time, you're going to want to use dynamic bids down only. What this means is you can start with the bid that you have selected, but Amazon will automatically decrease it if the bidding from other competitors is cheaper and you're actually bidding too high, which is good for us. The fixed bids means that you are always going to bid the same. Now, this doesn't mean that you're always going to pay the same cost per click. Your bid doesn't equal your cost per click. It just tells Amazon whether or not you're in the game and whether or not you can be shown. But your cost per click will still vary even if you have fixed bids. So dynamic bids down only really should be your standard. Fixed bids you can use when you have a really good idea of what you want your bid to be, or if you have ranking campaigns where you already have a lot of history and you know exactly what you want to target the bid at. Dynamic bids up and down only if you have no idea what you want to bid and you really need impressions on whatever that target is. So we're going to select dynamic bids down only. Now we get to bid adjustments. Now there's three fields here: top of search, rest of search, and product pages. Now you remember when we were on Amazon.com, there were three main placements for these ads. These placements correlate to these three fields here. So top of search is these ads that show up at the very top, right after the sponsored brand ad. These four ads, these are the top of search placements. If I scroll down, everything that's not top of search, everything else in search results is rest of search. So these two are rest of search. I scroll down more, these two are rest of search, and it'll continue. These two are rest of search. And throughout search results, you'll see more and more and more of these. Top of search ads are the most expensive, highest cost per click, but they also have the highest click-through rate. So they can have a really dramatic impact on ranking, which is why they're so valuable. Finally, the third type of placement is product placements, which you see on a product page. Now, if I scroll down here, these are product placements, these are product placements. If I scroll down, there's going to be more. These are product placements. So what these three fields allow you to do is adjust the bid based on where you really want your ads to show. They all have their own pros and cons. Product page placements tend to be cheaper. Rest of search placements also tend to be cheaper. Top of search placements are the most expensive, but top of search placements get the highest click-through rate, followed by rest of search and product pages. So it really depends on your goal. If you're really trying to get cheaper and go really lean, or you know product targets that you really want to show up for, you might up your bid percentage on product pages. If you know you want to show top of search, you're going to up your percentage on top of search. So a good starting place for this is if, for example, I wanted to show top of search because I really wanted to drive ranking for this keyword, then I would start at maybe 100%, but you can actually up this to up to 900%. So you can have a dramatic change in the bids for particular placements that you want. Now, the best way to decide what to set each of these bid placement fields at is to actually look at the ad console after the campaign has been running for a while and see where your placements are actually going. And you can see your placements by going to the ad console, clicking the campaign itself, and then on the left-hand side, going to placements. That's going to show you where all of your placements are going, which placement is getting the most clicks, which placement is getting the most spend, and which placement is generating the most sales, and which placement has the best ACoS. You can even adjust the bid adjuster right here in post without even going into the campaign. Now, this is really the best way to adjust the bid placements, but even when you're starting out and creating the campaign, if you already have an idea of where you want to show, you can start by adjusting your bids. And I would start by doing anywhere between 50 and 200%, and then you can change as time goes on. Now let's go to the last section, which is really just campaign name, which portfolio you're putting it in, the start and end date, and the daily budget. So for campaign name, you really want to follow a dedicated naming convention that allows you to know what this campaign is. Now for sponsored product campaigns, here's a really good guide that you can see on my screen that actually walks through how you should name your campaigns. You can see here, this is just our little tag for our company. You can skip this part, but you start with the product name, and that's just a nickname, like 2 words. I would just say sourdough kit, for example. Then the ASIN. Now this is important because you might have a product name that has multiple variations that you're advertising. You want to put the ASIN in there so you know exactly which of the variations, which of the products you're advertising. Then you want to put if it's an automatic targeting or manual targeting. So we say SPA for sponsored product automatic and SPM for sponsored product manual. Then after that, if it's an automatic campaign, we're going to talk about different match types. You can put the match type at the end. But if it's a manual campaign like the one we're setting up now, you're going to put in what keyword you're targeting or what keyword family you're targeting, and then what type of targeting you have in there, whether it's exact, broad, or phrase. So that's how you want to name it. You want to have all the relevant information in the name so that once you have dozens or hundreds of campaigns, you can go through and see what's performing well just by looking at the name. This might not seem like it's an important point, but once you have a lot of campaigns, it's going to get super confusing if you don't have a good naming convention. So make sure to follow this. You can screenshot this and just put it on your desktop. By the way, if you don't know where to find your ASIN, you could just go to your product listing, scroll down, and you'll see the ASIN under additional information right here. So I'm going to name my campaign the product name, the ASIN. Because this is manual targeting, I'm going to put SPM, sponsored product manual. And since I'm targeting a single keyword, I'm just going to put that keyword in here, sourdough starter kit. Now, if this was a whole group of keywords, I would put something that let me know what the group is. Like if I was putting all the keywords that were for elderly or for kids or with chopping block or something specific or wooden, where I had a bunch of keywords that were all sitting in that family, then I would put that family or that root in here. But since this is a campaign that's targeting a single keyword, I'm just going to put that single keyword in here. And then since we used exact match targeting, I'm going to put exact in the name. Then when it comes to portfolio, so it really helps to organize all your campaigns for a given product into one portfolio. So each portfolio should be the name of a product, and you put all your campaigns for that product into that portfolio. This keeps it nice and neat and clean. The start and end date, you're normally not going to have any end date because you're just going to turn off the campaign manually if you decide that it's not performing well. And the start date, you're normally going to want to start right away. So start today. Daily budget. So a good place to start is just to multiply the number of units you want to sell per day with the campaign times the price of your product times your ACoS or your target ACoS. Now this is just going to give you a general idea of what the budget should be. But like I said, you're going to adjust this budget as time goes on when you see if it's spending the budget way too early in the day, or if it's not spending the budget at all, you just have to up your bid because you're not even getting impressions. So I'm going to set my daily budget here at $100, and then I'm ready to launch my campaign. Now let's go back and look at some of these targeting options that we skipped over here. So let's say instead of targeting keywords, I wanted to target a product or a group of products. I would select still manual targeting, but then I would select product targeting instead of keyword targeting. And here is where I can select either categories or individual products. Now, categories, you're really not going to use this very much until you're doing a lot higher volumes and you're really just trying to get impressions anywhere you can get them. But most of you guys are going to be targeting individual products. Now, if I click individual products, you can either use Amazon suggested targets, which I wouldn't really recommend, or you can search for a particular product or ASIN, or if you already know the ASINs you want to target, you can just type them out in a list, or you can upload a file. So the easiest way to do this is just enter the target. So let's say I wanted my product to show up on this product page. I would take the ASIN, copy it, and put it right into the list here, if this is what I wanted to target. Now, as time goes on and you run a bunch of different types of sponsored product ads, you're going to find more and more targets that you're going to want to add to your targeting list. And you can either group these together in one big campaign, or you can group them in multiple campaigns based on the type of target. Like say, I want to target the top ranking products. I might have the 4 top ranking products in one campaign, and then I have another campaign for the products that are much more expensive than me, because I want my ads to show up on that because mine's cheaper. So I would have a campaign with all the products that are more expensive than me, for example, and you can group them like that. But in this example, we're just going to target a single ASIN. Now you'll see that there's 2 different types of targeting here, exact and expanded. Now exact means that you're telling Amazon to just show your product on the ASINs that you input in this box. Again, this doesn't actually guarantee that Amazon is going to show your ad only in this placement on this ASIN. It's just going to suggest to Amazon that you show the ad on this ASIN, but it can still show in search and in other places on Amazon. But it can still show in search results even if you target an ASIN. Now, why is that? Don't ask me. This is just how Amazon works. But clicking exact and putting one ASIN in there makes it likely that your ad is going to show up for that particular ASIN on its product detail page. Now, if instead of exact, I select expanded, this means that I'm giving Amazon an idea of the type of product detail page that I want my ad to show up on, but I'm giving Amazon the leeway to show my ad on other types of product pages like that. So when I go in and I see downloading my search term reports, I see where Amazon shows my ad for that campaign. It's actually going to show the ad on a bunch of different product detail pages that are similar to the one that I inputted as my seed. So to keep it simple, we're going to click exact, and then we're going to click target, and you can see that it shows up right here. And again, we can bid whatever, we can select our starting bid, but again, this doesn't matter that much. You're really going to be able to change this in post when you start to see if you're getting impressions or if you're spending your budget too early in the day. You'll adjust the bid up and down based on the performance of that target. If I go down, now I can see negative product targeting. Similar to before when we had negative keyword targeting, I can actually negative target particular products. So I can exclude a whole brand for example, or I can exclude particular products. So similar to before, if I say, for example, I'm targeting this product, but I really don't want my ad to show up on this product because I know that it never converts because it's just a better offer than me. It's cheaper and it has more inclusions or whatever. I'm gonna click this one, get the ASIN, and add that in as a negative target to make sure that Amazon doesn't show my ad on this particular product detail page. Now, if I scroll down again, we have the same different types of campaign bidding strategies and the same placements. Now, the thing is, you might ask, if I'm targeting a product detail page, why would I need bid adjusters for top of search and rest of search when I'm targeting a product detail page? Well, the reason is because even when you target a product detail page, Amazon can still show your ads in search. So if you really want to just target detail pages, you might want to up your bid placement here by 100%. And then what you can do is just lower the bid, lower the starting bid to lower than you originally would have, so that these other placements are much less likely to show, and the placement that you want is more likely to show. Then when we go down, we see the same settings before, and these are all the same rules. The only difference here is instead of a keyword, we're going to put what our ASIN target was in this target. So in this case, our ASIN target was this one. So we'll put that ASIN target in here. If it was a whole family, like I said before, like higher priced products or top ranking products, I would put that in here, like top ranked, for example. But in this case, we're going to put this one particular ASIN because that's all we're targeting. And we would say whether it's exact or expanded. In our case, it's exact, and we are ready to go. All right, now that we know all the different types of manual targeting, keyword targeting, and product targeting, let's go over automatic targeting. So what is automatic targeting? This basically means we're allowing Amazon to choose where our ad shows up. So Amazon could show our ad for any type of keyword or any product detail page that it thinks is relevant to us. Now, there are two ways to do this. One is this first option here, set default bid. This is basically telling Amazon that it can show your product anywhere. Any search, any product detail page, Amazon will decide where it's most relevant for your ad to show up. You're going to set your default bid, and then you go down to negative keyword targeting. This is the only control you have over targeting. You can't tell Amazon anything about the targeting when you use automatic targeting. All you can do is tell Amazon where not to show your ads. So if I had a particular keyword that I didn't want Amazon to show my ad for, I would put it in here. Similarly, if I scroll down, I can put the products that I don't want Amazon to show my ad on for product detail pages. And for that, I would put the product ASINs here. Then, similar to the other types of campaigns, you choose your bidding type, choose your bid adjustments, and then you can create your campaign. Now, if I want a little bit more control over my automatic targeting campaigns, I can select set bids by targeting group. Now, if I select this, you're going to see four options: close match, loose match, substitutes, and complements. And this is what I actually recommend you guys do when you're using automatic targeting, because it gives you a little bit more control and it reins Amazon in a little bit so it can't just go super wild. Now, what you normally want to do is have one campaign per match type. So I'm going to just focus this time on close match. Close match means Amazon is basically targeting search terms that are very related to your product. It's not going to go too far outside the bounds. Loose match means Amazon is going to be a little more loose with it. It's going to test things that are maybe related to or complementary to your product, but not specific to your product. Both close match and loose match are search-based automatic targeting styles. Now, once I get down to substitutes and complements, these are product-based automatic targeting match types. So substitutes is products that could be a substitute for your product. So it means very similar products. And Amazon is going to show your ads on product detail pages that are similar to your product. Complements means it's actually Amazon is going to show your ads to products that complement your product. So it's not the same product. It might be, if I'm advertising a cheese board, it might show my ad for cheese knives because people tend to need both a cheese board and a cheese knife. So it's going to show my ad on those types of product detail pages. Now, the one to start with is really close match. You're usually going to get the most predictable results with that, and you'll still be able to generate new keywords. So when it comes to this type of targeting, automatic targeting, the main benefit that you're going to get from this targeting isn't really a high performing campaign. The main benefit that you get from it is you actually get to source new targets that you didn't know exists. So because you're giving Amazon the leeway to advertise your product on different search terms that you didn't input and different products that you didn't research, Amazon gets to test things out. And because of that, it tends to have a higher ACoS, at least at first, before you start putting in a bunch of negative targets that you know don't perform well. But what you get out of this is you find the search terms and the product targets that do perform well, and then you can put them in their own exact match campaigns. And that's where the real benefit of automatic targeting comes. So that's how I would recommend utilizing automatic targeting. Just do one match type per campaign, start with close match, and then once you get that performing, you can open up to loose match, substitutes, and complements, and then use the campaign to source new targets that you'll find by downloading your search term reports, analyzing them, and then pulling out the targets that perform best. All right, so there we go. That was our tour of how to set up high performing Amazon sponsored product campaigns. In future videos, we're gonna go a lot deeper and talk through how to use sponsored product campaigns specifically to rank for keywords and to hit other goals, like to defend your brand from other competitors trying to steal your branded search terms and other important goals like that. And if you're in the position where you don't even want to deal with any of this, my company, Sophie Society, partners with brands to take over their PPC and help them to grow, not just by taking over their Amazon advertising and PPC, but also by using the data from their PPC to give them insights about what they can do to grow their brand on their side. And we work together to grow the brand. If you want to explore if you're applicable for that, just click the link in the description and you can fill out the form on our website. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you in the next one.